Greetings, my friends. This is the brain. Yes, of TV's Pinky and the Brain. And you're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel, who will help me to take over the world. Yes.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You are listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libation.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs. This is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us for this show. We discuss the Frontierland Shootin arcade and the upcoming changes to Disney's Disability Access Service. And look, this isn't your typical polished, practiced, pixie dust and Disney podcast. No way. We are not in the parks every day wondering what would happen if we did not manténganse alejado de las puertas.
That's right, Cap. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and tell you what's up with this.
Yes.
Oh my God. That was ad-libbing. I was literally texting my wife, and I was like, what's coming in my brain?
That is fun. That is
That
fun.
was on the fly. That was impressive.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, that's what they do. That's what they
Kudos.
do. Oh man.
That's professionals right there.
Yeah.
Professionals.
That's it. Well, look, gang, ready, aim, fire. So that all you listeners have to do is just listen up to what we think up while we drink up.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'd be like,
I'm Rachel, and I don't have any witty shows to say. But kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
She did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah,
she
she
was
did,
working
yeah.
that
You're
left side
tired.
of the brain. We were working that right side. So
That's right.
She
Yeah.
got it going.
Yeah.
Yes, and look, we do have a special guest, but we'll introduce them later on. It's somebody, if you've been listening to the show for a while, they've been on before, and you know who this is.
Long time no weekend.
Absolutely. Long time a weekend. And look, the easiest way to support us is to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcast and or wherever you access our show. Also, be sure to like and subscribe as well as turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. So enough of our jibber jabber. Let's go discuss Disney's Disability Access Service. And pew pew.
pew, pew. Pew, pew.
Welcome to The Q, the segment in which we get to discuss all the news and happenings in the world of Disney today. And we are recording this on Saturday, April 13th, 2024, and there is a good bit to discuss, so let's get to it. This story pains me a little bit, but I always felt like its days were coming to an end. Over in Walt Disney World, it looks like the Frontierland Shootin arcade's days are numbered.
No!
Yes.
It's true.
I know, I felt it. Last week, I had a story that made me feel away, as Rachel put it.
Yeah.
This week, another story that makes me feel, I guess, us away, or anybody else away.
That's a big one for Eli.
Yeah. But back in early January, Disney announced that the construction on a brand new Disney Vacation Club member lounge would begin sometime in 2024. At the time, Disney did not specify a location. However, there has been rumor that the Frontierland Shootin arcade will be closed to make way for this new DVC member lounge. And that rumor has gained steam in the past week and has been upgraded to semi-confirmed by a lot of Disney fan news outlets, as they have even placed a timeline of the end of May for its closure, with specifically its last day of operation being Memorial Day, May 27, 2024, which I thought was kind of funny.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's exactly on that Monday, Memorial Day. Now that all of the waits is the official announcement from Disney. So this is, everybody's expecting this to happen. This is impending doom for me, I would just say. But much like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, like I said, this made me feel away. This opening day attraction has always been a must-do stop for me on every trip to the Magic Kingdom. Check that. I'm not talking once a trip, but every time I set foot in the Magic Kingdom, wherever I'm going, I go. Yeah, I love that thing.
You and Eli both.
I've never been.
Really?
Really?
Oh, yes. We're going to be there not next week, but the week after that. And I'm going. I'm live it up while I can. For
You
the first
should,
time.
and it's free, right?
I don't know where it is. Where is it? I mean, I know it's in Frontierland.
Oh, it's right next to the pin store. Like if you go by the Country Bear shop, there's the big pin store in Frontierland, and it's in a recessed area. You can't. I mean, if there's a bunch of people, you can't hear the. You can't miss the sounds coming from the speakers in the arcade.
Rachel, don't go.
Fun.
Don't go. Because you're going to like it and you're going to be like, but this is going
Then you're going to feel away.
You know, well, it's not me. It's my 7-year-old boy.
Oh, he's gonna love it.
Yeah, man, that was me.
And then that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, look, that was the thing, y'all. It's like amid all the changes happening in those parks, this was one of the few things that remained a constant for me.
Yeah.
Ever since I was that little boy. Maybe I was 7. Maybe I was younger than that.
You're not alone in that one.
I mean, I am going to miss it, but I guess I'll just have to head over to Disneyland to play it. But I have a message for Disney.
Oh.
Give him the message. Shoot him.
Is there a 4-letter word in there?
No.
Okay.
If they need a place to store that thing, I've got 2 acres in which I would let you do that rent free. All you gotta do is drop it off, deliver it, and set it up for me, and then you can just leave.
And you live far, Kevin, but I'll drive out at least once a month to have a piece of that.
They're just gonna shove it in some kind of warehouse and just let it sit there. But if they want, they're more than welcome to drop it on my property and just leave it out. Ain't got to pay a thing.
I would say the same thing for my neighborhood because it's an open lot, but then too much action would probably happen if that occurred.
Yeah, there's enough shooting in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got my own gallery.
I bet John Stamos will buy it. That's my prediction.
John Stamos.
John Stamos. We'll find out that John Stamos bought it.
With all the bottles he had in the hot tub.
And the hot tub and all that stuff.
Shooting.
Yeah.
Man.
But there it is, man. One of my favorite things. It has a special place because that was the first park I went to, right? As a Disney fan, and so that was the first shooting arcade that I went to.
Yeah, I remember being a little boy, like you said, and taking that gun and missing everything, but being like just kind of dropping the gun and watching how everybody would shoot the target and little things would happen, and it was so frustrating. As I got older and I started getting good at aiming, it was like a sense of pride. So it was great, and especially lately because there was no wait. There's no additional charge. You just step up and enjoy 5 minutes of unscripted fun on your Disney vacation. It was really awesome.
Yeah. It reminds me of my video arcade game days. We grew up on all that. We used to have arcade Duck Hunt.
Yes.
Even the shooting games you had in the arcade, you put a quarter in. And it was just like
Lethal
that. It was basically, for me as a kid, it was a video game arcade in the parks. I had to go get change. I had to get quarters because it only accepted quarters.
Yep.
And then I got my 35 shots, and that was it. I mean, now that it's free, I can
it's
freaking
free.
Rambo.
Oh, dude.
all day long.
Isn't that fun to do that?
Dude, it's great.
We were double fisting like
Yes.
Eli and I when the last time we were
We'd
there.
shoot, and it's like I didn't have to aim because eventually I'd hit something.
Oh,
you know?
I'm so torn if I should go or not.
Yes, you should go. That's easy. Yes.
You're gonna love it, and then it's gonna go bye-bye.
That's why you need to do it. So you get that.
Actually, you know what? You're gonna be like, you're gonna take aiming and a shoot, and you're like, wait, why did I miss that? No, let me try that again. What the hell? All right, let me try this again.
Right.
Before you know it, your shots are done, and then it's like, okay, finally I hit the thing, and then you're gonna love it.
I remember, yes, I tie that to my childhood as well. Like when I read this news, a lot of times when I read different things that Disney is doing and changing and something, I'm like, well, okay, it's like Thanos says, right? It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But I read this one, I'm not going to lie. I felt like I deflated a little bit, like a balloon. I totally did. They'll tell you, like, when we pass this area, I'm like, wherever you're going, I'll see you in a few minutes. I stop and I play that thing all the time.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Could you imagine if they had beer at the Magic Kingdom and you could like pull up with a beer and like?
I don't think I'd ever leave that.
Hold
area.
my beer, I'm shooting the train.
If there was a beer and a turkey leg and a gun,
Well, that's the vacation.
I don't know what he would put down first.
That's the vacation right there. Like, you want to get on tap? No, I'm good right here. Like, let me know how it is. I'll still be over here.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm glad you love it. Well, I'm sorry it's going away though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually felt that. Like, I actually felt the deflation in my enthusiasms, if you will.
This is how I felt Rivers of Light, by the way.
I am sorry because it hurts. Because, like, I would tell you, one of the fondest moments I had of that, I'm going to shoot for a second, a wrestling term shoot. One of the fondest moments I had was there's a target that's way off in the back.
You talking about the sky?
The sky.
With the Ghost Rider?
The ghost. He like shoots.
Guys?
I never could hit
Dude, that thing's a pain in the butt.
I hit it once. I was like,
me too.
I was like, yes, and I had a great time.
My
with
success
that.
was probably like 1 in 1,000.
It's hard to do it. I needed the free thing, but
Yeah.
yes,
I'm officially going to the Shootin' Arcade, and I'm aiming for the sky.
aim for the sky. Absolutely,
Yes.
Always aim for the
It's
sky.
the most awesome effect that they have.
It is
the
a
whole
cool
thing.
effect. You know what the best thing about the gallery, the arcade that I liked is that you could shoot in one place, finish that coin, and then you could go to a different place.
Oh,
and you'd
yeah.
have a whole new set of targets. that you could
Exactly.
shoot at.
Yeah.
It's like such a fully, deeply themed experience where it's like there were so many different things. Like depending on where you were, you could do different things.
Yeah, you shoot things, birds fly off. I mean, like it was effective. It was enough to buy my time for a good bit, and really they should have amplified it. That would have been a good crowd gobbler as well. And
Amplified it. Oh, like make it bigger?
And yeah, but then I would have.
I think they'd have to make it not guns.
That way, boys and guns. I mean, that's
Shoot,
what
I
it
would have
is.
taken a bow and arrow if they want to do a Merida
Well, but yeah,
style.
it's Disney. In Disney World, guns that shoot lasers, totally fine. Guns that shoot bullets,
Bullets. Bad. But it's Frontierland. I mean, come on. All I needed was a Davy Crockett hat, with the little raccoon fur
You know,
on the back.
It's funny you say that, Danny, because back on show 342, I went on the history of how they stopped using pellets and they switched to laser technology.
That's
for these
right.
guns. Make sure you go
right.
back and check out that episode today.
Right.
I like that cheap plug.
I like
Thank
that. And look, and I know there's probably somebody listening that's saying, but Kevin, Eli, Danny, Rachel, wait, there's Toy Story, right? You can shoot there for Buzz Lightyear, and there's web slingers if you go out there in Florida. And yeah, that's cute,
It's not the same.
but it's not the same. It's not the same as putting the rifle in the hand and aiming, taking your time. You're not being spun around. You're there. So to those people, I respect your opinion if you're saying that, but no, not the same
for you.
thing.
No.
Take it
No.
back.
I used to like the little shooting the shovel. That dude shoveling, and then you hit it, and he pops up. He's like, "Oh!"
Yes.
Yes.
That was so cool.
Yes, and so listen. The other thing is this: when I realized what it was going to be replaced with, then that kind of no disrespect, Kevin. I know you a DVC guy.
Yeah, but I don't want to lounge there.
Okay, because I'm gonna say I've met some nice DVC people while we've gone on trips and on the plane. Shout out to my guy Jay, right? And nice people. But really, I gotta lose my dream for that. I mean, like that is what it is. Because I'm not even a DVC person. So
I know.
this is the thing where it's like, and I'm just gonna resonate this as simply as I
Go for
possibly
it.
can.
Preach.
I almost feel like this is those examples where Disney says, hey, sir, your hard-earned money is not enough to justify us keeping your childhood intact. That's really...
No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying your hard-earned money isn't as much as these people over here are paying us.
Yeah!
So
yeah.
we're gonna give them chairs, a soda machine, and a bag of chips.
Yeah! That's so you right. And you get nothing.
Yeah.
You get maybe a picture.
It's a freestyle machine, though. Those things are so good.
Oh, do they serve alcohol at least in the DVC lounge? At least, I hope. See what I'm
No,
saying?
they don't.
The
Why?
finest Coca-Cola products you can enjoy.
Right,
The
Fanta,
finest.
Fanta. Who wants a
Here's
Fanta?
my thing, though. Like, seriously, though, when you say about the lounge, like, if they really needed space in the Magic Kingdom for a lounge, like, really needed it,
Really needed.
they couldn't just go to Tomorrowland, which Stitch's Great Escape has been sitting vacant now for over 5 years.
Oh, thank you.
Or the Tomorrowland Terrace that they barely ever use. I mean, maybe for dessert parties, but fine, make it a lounge during the day and a dessert party overnight. Why not either of those locations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really
I mean,
That's a good
either
question.
one would work
Yeah.
just fine.
That's a great point.
And the answer more and more seems to be that because we're this close to saying happy trails to Frontierland.
And that's what it does look like. I know we talked with the show with Kirk.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about everything with Tiana's, Bayou. I'm
Last week, show number 519.
Thank you.
Oh, I've got an issue
I don't want to
with that.
set off Kevin 2 times because I'm with you on the rifle thing. But yes, it does look like that's something that's being eliminated. And I like passing through Frontierland. I do enjoy that. And I do think that if they're going to take this and change it, can it be changed to something just relatable? Because I'm feeling the classism here. That's all I'm saying. Feeling a little classism
A little
here.
classic.
A little, you know, little Coke classism here. I feel it.
Coke class.
It's kind of rough.
Well, I'm gonna check it out.
Good, you should.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure no longer fits. Country Bears are being reimagined. The Shootin' Arcade's going away. And the rumors of Pecos Bill becoming Tiana's Palace, I mean, that seems pretty ironclad considering what's directly across from it. So my issue is more that something is up, but why won't they tell us what it is? It's like death by 1,000 cuts.
They need to sell seats at D23.
You think they're worried about what people are just going to say before they just start implementing stuff since they get so much flack about everything else that they do?
I'm just saying it's death by 1,000 cuts. Would you rather bleed out or just get one to the head?
This cut
Just
hurt.
get rifled.
Yeah,
just a rifle to the head.
Just take, they already shot me to the sky.
I look. I'm fine. Like, I could potentially get behind a reimagining of Frontierland because let's face it, going into Frontierland, it's not like stepping foot into Tombstone.
We have that. That's a fair trade.
Well, we used to have that with the Frontierland Shootin' Arcade.
No, you can't have that. That's like I said. Guns with bullets bad. Guns that shoots lasers like stormtroopers and whatnot. That's good. You can't have bullet guns.
Can't have that.
You can't have that. No.
I want to be Val Kilmer, man, and shoot off my jacket and
It's just, I thought you were totally going for Kurt Russell. I want the mustache.
Think about it. Frontierland has been dominated by cartoon bears and foxes and rabbits for a long time now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone's like, well, it'll become a new New Orleans area. I think it's possible, but why not, like, they're doing this emphasis over at Tiana's on critters. Why not just make it Disney World's Critter Country?
Critter Country.
I mean, put the country bears in there, but you got the country bears. You've got Tiana with all her critters. I mean, why not do that?
Can we shoot Nutria? At least I'll do that.
You can shoot.
I'll shoot Nutria on the train. I'll do that.
they don't have a Nutria character.
You can shoot Nutria
with a
here.
laser. I know, but they're really big here. They're about the size of an attraction.
Yeah,
here.
those Nutria don't play around.
Bambi's Shootin' Arcade.
Hey,
I'm just saying, if you're not going to deliver on the Wild West experience, what's the frickin' point of Frontierland? Like,
Sure.
I know Walt said Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals and the dreams that made the facts, the hard facts that created America. But we don't do hard facts anymore. Hard facts are triggering and problematic. We can't do hard facts. The parks need to be a safe space. So I'm fine with them reimagining it if that's what they're going to do. If they're not going to do it well, then okay. But this is a slow, drawn out process. It's draining. It's just so draining.
it hurts.
Well, that's the thing. Like Kirk said last week, is like, the thing that Disney has over Universal is that there's a lot of emotion tied to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, it speaks to the bigger issue I've been making from the last couple of shows is that under Bob Iger, the parks have been slowly losing their theming. Little by little, bit by bit. When you have a proposal for the Animal Kingdom that includes adding an Encanto attraction and a Coco attraction, and then over in the Magic Kingdom, you have a proposal for like the exact same attractions, or exact same properties, I should say, maybe different attractions, it goes to show that Disney feels that anything can go anywhere at any time. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like Avatar, Encanto, Coco, Indiana Jones, none of them really have anything to do with animals. But hey, add a few nature trails, throw in a couple of birds that guests won't even notice while they're on their iPhone booking their next lightning lane or checking their park map. And it's all good, right? No, because now you've gone from a park that was all about animals to a park that happens to have animals. And it's not the same thing.
That's the deeper exploration that they're missing that we talked about last week.
I've said it before. No one knows what Hollywood Studios is. Is it a working studio? Is it another galaxy? Are you a toy? Who knows? Who can keep track of the new Epcot? Like, do you know what World Nature, World Discovery, and World Celebration are?
Guess we're going to discover that soon.
I guess so. Like, it just seems like the parks are losing their identity. Like, they're park neutral. Park neutral. Like, I don't know. How do you explain it? It just worries me that they're not taking theming seriously.
I wonder what generation is this for? Because I always thought as a younger person that if you had a parent or a grandparent that already went to Disney and then you went with them, well, there was your bonding moment. Because now your grandparent or the person you can't relate to can relate to you on this level of imagination. But now that's not going to be the case. Like, by the time my grandson gets old enough to go, and I think I should still be mobile, I'm not going to really know to say, I used to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, how about this, grand boy? Let's just take a shot at this thing. I can't do that. And for all I know, Disney will be altered to a point to where he's like, grand, they just hit a button and then the ride comes to you. Like, what? What happened to Lightning Lane? What? Huh?
That would really solve some problems with DAS.
Well, that's true. Hopefully,
yeah.
that would.
A lot of the kids with the ADD, you give them a cell phone, they're fine.
They're fine. Oh, yeah. My grandson.
That's probably going to be the interview. Hey, my kid has ADHD. Did you give him a cell phone?
Yes, he stared at it for hours.
Try that and then wait in line for 3 hours.
Give him some blinking lights and LEDs around the ceiling. He will be completely content.
I tell you this much, though. Like, this is something that really is concerning to me. I hate what they're doing to Tiana.
In what context are you saying?
Okay, have y'all noticed the last couple of names that are coming out? We're going to have Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Her restaurant over in Disneyland and probably which will be in Disney World is going to be Tiana's Palace, where she also has like a selection of foods called Tiana's Foods. And now she's opened up a shop called Tiana's Bayou General. You saw that? Like, does she need her name on everything? Are they trying to turn her into Disney's version of Donald Trump? Like, everything is Tiana's this, Tiana's that, Tiana's that. Like, can't she just come up with a name? Like, why is she labeling everything with her own name?
That's true.
Well, that's what they do with the movies. Disney Encanto, Disney Little Mermaid, Disney.
Well, that's Disney branding.
Sisters of Prada, they branded.
Right. Like, they can't just come up with an imaginative name?
Like Tiana the Stallion.
Tiana that, Tiana that, Tiana this. Trump the steaks, Trump the fragrance. Spaceballs the
Foreman Grill. Foreman Grill 4.
Yeah, like, come on. Stop with the branding already. Y'all, this is not fair to her.
Well, I want my shoot gallery back, god dog it.
Tiana's Shooting Gallery. There you go.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that.
It's staying now.
Like, can we shoot a bowl of gumbo?
It's nothing but nutria, and you got a big levy.
Oh, boy. Do you get to cook it? Take it on the ride?
Oh my gosh, but if you were like shooting beignets in people's mouths, like
I literally did that as a job.
Hungry people.
That was that's a story.
I just got oddly turned on by all of a sudden.
He knows I'm talking about.
I love beignets.
Oh, no. If it's a New Orleans area, Rachel, what you be doing? What you be doing?
Scooby-Doo?
What you would do is throw the beads to the women downstairs, and if you hit them, they flash you.
Okay, that would be a good shoot.
That is a New Orleans tradition.
That didn't happen to me when I rode on the float at Universal.
Well, that's not the authentic New Orleans experience.
Authentic experience.
But God bless you,
however, hit a few kids. I felt bad.
Did you hit a few kids?
Oh, jeez.
Did you throw any beads at the drummers?
If those Universal drummer men had been out, I would have been throwing all of my beads.
Oh, well, you see, that's
well, they would have been shirtless though.
Yeah, if you're on the float,
yeah, they're usually shirtless already.
They got to flash you, and then you throw them beads. That's how it works.
Well, she would have been giving it to just cuz. You're shirtless. Here. Here.
They'd have had all the beads. All the beads.
All the beads. All the cups.
Yeah. I hear that. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We still got to talk about Universal Trip. Maybe we'll do that at some time down the road, because I'm curious to hear how you're riding in a Universal Mardi Gras parade compares to riding in our Mardi Gras parade, I guess. I don't know. I don't even
Probably very different.
Yeah. So cool. Look, there it is. Frontierland Shootin Arcade. We're curious to know what you guys think. It's funny. I went into Reddit just to see, I happened to stumble upon the Reddit thread about, this closing, and there's a lot of nice stories. I thought it to be like super negative or like, just like, yeah, get rid of the guns. No. But it was like all lovely little stories of like, the guy remembered his grandpa sitting on his lap and just helping him aim.
That's what I'm talking
about. Make the little can shoot up. He was trying to get, or the crow to go.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh.
That's great memories. I really hate to see that go away. I really, really do hate to see that go away.
Yeah. So listeners, if this actually does go away for this, I will redo that in the history episode that I did way back in 342 and include more of the Frontierland, because I think I mostly talked about Disneyland and stuff, but I'll talk about this the Walt Disney World version if it actually comes to fruition, and it looks like it will be, that it's going to go away. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let us know, show@magicourway.com. Here we are on the Hub, the main topic segment of our show. And on this segment, we are talking about the DAS. And so I'm going to turn it over to our resident travel agent, who's been having many conversations about this, to take us through this discussion. And I believe you have a guest that is joining us for this, yes?
I do. Yeah. So we're going to talk today about some of the history of the Disability Access Service Program that is more commonly known as DAS or DAS. And there have been some big changes announced this week. So we're going to talk about those changes too. But yeah, we have a guest, a Florida resident, local park goer, and it is Dr. Raz.
Long time a weekend back on the show. Not just the Raz, she is Dr. Raz. Congratulations on your defense.
Yes.
And your upcoming graduation. That's awesome, man.
In your band, The Electric Mayhem.
Yes. Love it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the history of the DAS program and then some of the changes. And then we're going to kind of have a just general discussion, but guys, feel free to ask questions. And Raz, we're really excited to get your take on this and all that. So so let's get into some of the history. I kind of started when I was doing some research on this in 2013. And 2013 was when Disney overhauled their previous system because they believed that there was some pretty serious abuse going on. The system had previously been called the Guest Assistance Card. I don't know if you guys remember hearing about that, but the Guest Assistance Card, it was a card that allowed basically front of the line access. And so these guest assistance cards had been being abused by tour companies and some other organizations. And so Disney discontinued the guest assistance cards and implemented instead the Disability Access Service Program, or DAS. At the time, in 2013, there were families of children that had autism that sued Disney for discontinuing guest assistance card because they believed it was a violation of ADA. But the court found in favor of Disney. So Disney basically won that lawsuit. The court said that they did not have to be providing a guest assistance card legally to these families. During that lawsuit, something interesting to note, and I think that that's going to be relevant to what we talk about here, in the 2013 system with the guest assistance card, Disney reported that about 30% of a popular ride's capacity was being dedicated to about 3% of guests that had a guest assistance card. So 3% of guests that qualified for this assistance card, Disney was devoting about 30% of their capacity of the ride to these park goers. And Disney estimated that that doubled the typical wait for the regular park guest who did not have a guest assistance card.
So when you say that, Rachel, you mean that one person with the card would bring in like various members of their family or friends?
Right.
Or? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And that was part of the lawsuit. It was a finding that Disney presented for their case. During the trial, Disney argued that providing front of the line access for every attraction would lead to much longer lines for the general public. And the judge agreed, added that giving access to the plaintiff's son would also lead to abuse of the system. And if others saw it on social media, they might demand the same access. They continued, requiring the modification based on the history of the former system would lead to fraud and overuse and lengthen the wait time significantly for non-disabled guests and fundamentally alter Disney's business model. Okay. So that was a quote from some of the news around that lawsuit when the 2013 system was overhauled. So all of that was the guest assistance card discontinued. Now we have DAS. People are upset about that, brought a lawsuit, and the court found that DAS did meet ADA requirements. So then in 2021, the system had to change again. And the reason was because the whole system changed. We got Genie Plus.
Yes.
And so because of the start of Genie Plus, they overhauled the DAS system again. And DAS became based in the app. So it became electronic. Prior to that, you used to go and get like return times at the queue. And this time, because of Genie Plus, it now became based in My Disney Experience and in the app. They offered 2 different ways that you could register for the Disability Access Service. And this is important because they're eliminating one of those ways with the new changes. So you used to be able to pre-register 30 days before your trip, or you could register in person when you arrived at guest relations. If you registered ahead of time online, you could get 2 pre-selections per day. So like similar to the old fast passes, you would have pre-loaded fast passes, lightning lanes, I guess, in your account before you arrived on your trip.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, so you would get the 2 pre-selections, and you also had the ability all day to, in the app, book a return time for a single attraction at a time. So for example, if I went into the parks and I wanted to ride Peter Pan, I would get in through the gate, go into the app and request a return time for Peter Pan. But I couldn't do like another attraction on top of that at the same time. It was just like, basically I'm waiting in line for Peter Pan, but I'm doing it through my app. And then I would get a lightning lane return window.
Okay.
And so as a result of that overhaul, and Genie Plus. So this was since 2021. So that's the last, 2+ years. Disney, I've seen like varying percentages, but most articles are saying that the disability access service use increased 300% as a result of Genie Plus starting. So it tripled. I've seen articles that have said as much as 5 times of an increase. So it is up significantly. In December of 2023, Len Testa talked about this on Disney Dish. Touring Plans had gone through and counted people in line, like getting into the lightning lanes. And they were estimating that about 3/4 of everyone in the lightning lane was either a DAS user or was a person connected to a DAS user that was using that lightning lane because of DAS.
Oh, wow.
So they're estimating about 75% of people in that lightning lane were actually DAS users and not Genie Plus. And so so that's like an increase of wait times kind of across the board. So what I'm trying to do here is just kind of set up like, this is the situation that Disney is kind of looking at as far as we know, up to this week. And so this is kind of some of the stuff that's motivating, okay, we have to change the system again. We have to look at it again. And so they announced this week that DAS will be overhauled again as of May 20th. And so that's not a very long turnaround time. If you've planned a trip, if you've planned a trip and you thought it was going to be a certain way, it may not be that way. Well, it definitely won't be. As of May 20th, there are going to be big changes. And it's June 18th for Disneyland. So they're going to make the same changes in Disneyland, but it'll be a little bit longer. So a quote from Disney's website, they say DAS is one of the programs offered at Walt Disney World Resort theme parks intended to accommodate only those guests who, due to a developmental disability like autism or similar, are unable to wait in a conventional queue for an extended period of time. So that's sort of their description of what DAS is intended for. The new program highlights, it will still exist. I have seen a lot of clickbait articles that said that Disney has eliminated this program, and they have not. They have just made some changes, but they are significant changes. It will require only pre-registration. So you have to do it online in advance. You will not be able to go in person at the parks and register anymore after May 20th.
Why would they do that?
I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I think part of it has to do with some of the other things that they're saying will change. One of those things is that they're saying that the cast members who you're going to be speaking with on these pre-registration calls are going to be trained by health professionals to give you more specific accommodations. Whereas in the past, maybe you get onto the call and you tell them what your needs are. They really only have a one-size-fits-all approach. Either yes, you get DAS, or no, you don't. And so I think now the hope is that these healthcare professionals that they're going to be partnering with are going to be able to suggest a range of options and accommodations that wouldn't just be lightning lane access and DAS. There are going to be some other options as well. And so they won't be able to train the in-person cast members to do that stuff.
Okay.
And so it has to be the pre-registration because they're going to have these trained cast members in these health accommodations.
I guess I get that, but I don't know. I understand them not wanting the cast member to make the call on this, but I also feel sorry for the family who arrives there and doesn't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
You're gonna have
it's
to do
the
it in advance.
criteria.
yeah.
So only pre-registration, but they're extending the time. So it was 30 days. Now it's going to be valid for up to 120 days. So that's going to be a little bit longer of a window that you have. But pre-registration has been really challenging. I've had clients that have tried to do it and, they have spent 2 evenings, multiple hours waiting in a line queue online to try to get pre-registered and they never get through. And so I have one client in particular who's going very shortly and they go every year. They just don't do the online thing because it's too much of a hassle. And so they just always do it in person and they won't be able to do that going forward. So I know that is a concern. The other concern is too that the person who requires DAS has to be present on the call. And so if your person who requires DAS is a child and the call takes 6 hours to get through to somebody, that child might be in bed, like,
Right.
so that's a problem too. So anyway, that's a challenge, and I'm not sure how they're going to address that. I think part of what they're trying to do is give you more time to get that done. So hopefully not everybody will be rushing in all on the same day to try to get it done. But yeah, so not all guests who currently qualify for DAS will qualify for the advanced passes that they're giving now. Those like 2 pre-selections. Not everybody will qualify for those. And even people who might qualify for DAS now may not qualify for DAS as it exists now at all in the future. They're going to have some other accommodations. One thing that they have specifically stated they might use is a return to line pass, where you have to get in line and be present in line. But then if for some reason you have to leave the line, you can then return to the line afterwards and not the end of the line, like return to where you were. So that will be another possible accommodation. Not everybody will qualify who qualifies now. Your party size will now be limited to 4 people only, or immediate family. So if you're a child and you're one of, 4 kids and 2 parents, then obviously they're going to let your whole family use it. But if you're somebody who's going with a group of friends, 4 people is now going to be the maximum.
That's including the holder or the
parties. Yeah, the party size. The cast on the call will be trained by health professionals, like I had mentioned before. The hope there is that they will more specifically be able to address needs and give a variety of accommodations instead of just this kind of one size fits all benefit. And then the return to line pass is something that they have talked about. They'll be offering those to folks who may need to leave the line for a medical reason. And the last bullet I wrote was just that physical disabilities are something that people have asked about. Like you guys asked me before we started recording,
Yes.
like what about people with physical disabilities? Physical disabilities were already something that really wasn't covered under DAS because most of the line queues are already wheelchair and ECV accessible.
Okay.
Not all of them, but the ones that aren't, they have a different system for how they get people through those lines if they have physical disabilities. But so that already wasn't something that was covered by DAS necessarily. Like if you had just a physical disability, that already wasn't something that would qualify for that program. So those aren't necessarily affected.
That's so wild.
2 points of clarification, just so I understand it. So you're saying that if someone with a card shows up with their immediate family and their family is say 6 to 7 people, they can go on. But if it's just friends, it's only 4.
Right.
Okay. And second thing is so submitting a note from a doctor that's not enough.
So you actually can't submit a note from a doctor because of HIPAA laws. And so that is not something they can ask for, which I think is like, it makes sense why those protections are important and need to be involved, but because they can't request those things, it opens the door for people to say, I have this need, I need this accommodation. And there's no way necessarily for Disney to validate that.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so it does potentially open the door for some abuse of the system.
Here comes Bad Behavior, episode number 20-something.
Really.
We did this with the old one, so there's a new version.
Right.
So I want to kind of like open it up to questions, but I also want to give our guest a chance to kind of talk out some of the things and her reactions to these changes.
Yeah, so guys, most of you already know I've been a DAS user for a while because of not a mobility disorder. Let me put it like that. It's just a medical issue I have. And so DAS allows me I can't wait in the lines for a couple hours. So I have to use the restroom. It's just how it is. And DAS allows me to be able to do that because I can just wait the time out somewhere else. And apparently I'm not going to qualify anymore because it's not a developmental disability, which I understand that they want that for that, but it is a little frustrating. I've gone through the process of being an AP and living locally in Florida. I often it's every 60 days for annual pass holders. So I would just go and get it renewed if I need to every time I go and I talk to a cast member. It'd just be easier that way. And I have noticed the last couple of times they've been much more stringent on asking specifically not what your disability is, but how they can help, if that makes sense. Because they don't really want to know even what your disability is. They want to know what's preventing you from standing in the lines. So I go into as much detail as they want me to because I'm very an open book about it. And I've always gotten approved. But I did do the pre-authorization one to go to Disneyland back in March. And just like Rachel said, that was a hot mess. I tried for 2 hours and then I got kicked off. And then I tried again and I was on for an hour and 45 minutes when I finally got somebody.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh my gosh.
the whole
that's
process,
Disneyland.
and that's Disneyland, and the whole process took all of maybe 2 minutes for when the cast member talking to me, and then it took a little longer to do the pre-selects. But it was a long wait, and not everybody has that amount of time. I just happened to have it on a Sunday afternoon, so.
Jeez.
So you're saying that if you were to get them on the line and explain the issue that you're having, they would just automatically reject you just flat out just because they consider it a physical developmental disability?
It's not developmental, so that's why, because it's a medical issue. It sounds like they're not granting it anymore for medical issues. Rachel, you can chime in if you've heard anything different, but it sounds like they might use this return to line feature, and I don't know how that's going to work. It seems, I'll be quite honest, it seems kind of embarrassing to me. And also I tend to go by myself. I tend to go with friends. So with friends, I understand them limiting it to 4, but if I go by myself, that's kind of hard. Just to try to hail a cast member down when you're in the middle of a line because you have to go to the bathroom. It's kind of embarrassing.
It is.
Yeah. I'm going to be really interested for how that return to line pass works, because I don't know that the other people in your party would be eligible for the return to line pass. I think that limited to 4 people is just for Des.
Right.
So I don't know how they're going to have that work. Because if you are by yourself and you leave the line to use the restroom and then come back, like, how do they know where you were? How do they, I don't know how.
Yeah, it's not like they have a bookmark or anything for you.
You got to talk to the
just-
person in front of you or behind you, like, hey, I'm coming back. Just, I don't know how you, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, so
I don't,
that'll be interesting. And then the other thing too is like some of the line cues, it's not easy to get out.
No,
they're not. And I'll be honest, the ones at Disneyland. So I actually had, when I was at Disneyland in March, I actually had an issue with my foot. Randomly, I don't usually have an issue with my foot, but I did, and I actually had to rent a scooter for 2 days while I was there. And so I got to realize how non-great those cues are. Even though they say they're accessible for mobility, they're really difficult. They're really difficult to navigate. And a lot of them at Disneyland, for some reason, I think there's about 5 I counted that have stairs, 5 cues that have stairs. It's like Space Mountain, Radiator Springs, Indiana Jones. There's a lot of them that have stairs, whereas we don't have that at Disney World. So that also had to be a different. Now I will say that every single cast member was amazing. They worked with you. They had some kind of process in place, even if they didn't have it labeled, to be able to get rid of the stairs. So you just had to go through a back entrance or something like that. It's Space Mountain. You actually had to go in a separate car that moved onto the line. It was kind of cool, actually.
Whoa.
I've seen that.
Oh, kind of like Toy Story Mania when they
kind of like that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so it was just a different experience from what I was used to because of the physical mobility addition to it. But yeah, so I'm just a little frustrated in the future because I do have my annual pass and I want to be able to use my annual pass. And, I don't know how I'm going to be able to use it for 3-hour lines like it is during the hectic times. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Wow. It seems like they've created a gray area now for it's like if there's not developmental things or physical things, and there's a group of a population that's I don't want to say, lack of a better word, ignored. Yeah, but they're not being addressed. Right? Is that what it seems like?
I mean, if you say it's gray area, it's a very narrow gray area.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the position where I'd be more than willing to, get a doctor's note or show them medications that I'm on, things like that actually show the need that I'm in. As of right now, they haven't wanted that. I
don't think they will.
I don't think they will either. I don't think they're going to want that. And then I think they're going to need to go to something like Universal has, to be quite honest, where they have a separate third-party entity that actually looks over doctor's notes and medications, and that way they get around HIPAA that way. Now, I haven't done the Universal thing because I only go when it's free, when I can go with my students.
That's not a bad perk.
Now, that's a loyal fan right there.
Yeah, but I have heard some about that, and that's good for a year after you do it with Universal. So you go through their whole system, and it's good for a year. So
oh wow,
I'm envisioning Disney might need to go that route.
I'm curious, why just a year? It's not like autism gets better or any maybe I don't. But I think
I don't think it would be autism. It, like some of the other things, right? Like you might have something that clears up or whatever. I don't really know. I feel lucky that I'm not somebody who lives with a chronic illness, but there are certainly I I could imagine there are times where, like, if you do have a chronic illness, you certainly need the pass. And then there are probably other times where things are more manageable, under control. Maybe you don't need it as much. And so they're asking you to reapply, and maybe in hopes that people will only apply when they really need it.
I'd like the idea of knowing that's always in my back pocket, though, just in case, hey, maybe it's a good day.
Right.
But yeah.
I know. Yeah, I hear you. It's interesting. I did have a friend who applied for it for her son. I don't know if it was this past year or the year before that. And what you were talking about, 18-year-olds telling you that you can't have it. And I'm not saying the person was 18, but they got on the phone call and the person on the other end was like, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. And so they just hung up and called back, and the next person gave it to them, no problem. So there's that too. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on who you get. Like,
it should be like that.
That's like Disney management.
That's
right.
You
don't like one answer, you go to another one.
Across the board, though, that has to be consistent.
Can I just say, like, the part of this, like, where they're saying that the primary cause for extending the wait, like, this is causing problems with Genie Plus Lightning lanes, and it's occupying a significant availability. Now, I view Lynn Trust as a very trustworthy source. So when he's saying the amount of people that use the system is tripled, it resonates a bit. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I just have a hard time believing that it's affecting the lines that much where there would be an appreciable difference.
Well, there's people abusing it. I will tell you right now.
There is.
And there are threads out there on Facebook, and a lot of the good groups try to monitor those and take those down. But there are threads like, what magic words do I say to a cast member to get DAS?
Yeah.
And things like that.
Guys, think about how valuable it is, right? Like, if you're a family of 6, right? You can have up to 6 people on this thing right now. You're talking about, it was just $37 a day, right? Times 6 plus tax. So you're talking about $240 a day or so that you're not paying. And then you get 2 pre-selections on top of that. And then you can use it for the individual Lightning Lane rides too. And so now you're talking another $120 on top of that. So we're up to like over $300 a day, and well over $400 a day in value by abusing the system. And at the moment, there aren't really consequences. Disney is saying in the future, if they discover that you have abused the system, that you will be banned for life.
They do that, yes. We covered that once.
They do make you sign something. They started about a year ago or so, that when you agree to it, you have to sign a whole page of stuff. And then you sign off of it. And I've read it. I usually just sign off on it, but I've read it, and it says essentially that, I don't know if it said ban for life, but it said they would ban you if you were misusing it and you were lying about it. So I guess they're just going to get more stricter on it now. I'm not sure how, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how either. I will say, if Lynn Test is right, and it's 3/4 of the people in the Lightning Lane, that is increasing your wait time significantly, Danny. Like, significantly.
It's hard for me to believe, but look, like I said, he's a trustworthy source. It's just, I tend to err on the side of believing that people with claiming disability has it, because I'd rather that than not.
Yeah.
And I'm just much more concerned that guests with legit disabilities will now be subject to, like, increased scrutiny and like unwarranted suspicion. And that's the part that kind of disturbs me a bit. But if it's that widespread of a problem, then I guess this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's weird, right? Because, and no disrespect to anyone that's listening.
Well, it's because we're good people, and who would think of this? Unless
bad behavior people.
I mean, and those people have to live with themselves, I suppose.
Absolutely, because, like, again, like, no disrespect to anybody that's listening that has any ailments. I take this extremely seriously, but my thought is this: I can't imagine I waited in line and then the ride's broken because somebody in their, like, James Bond entourage came off, and then they had a dog or something, and the dog had nothing to do with this and that. They faked the whole thing, and it's like, man, like, come on, like, it's a lot, and I never could tell. That's why this is helpful for me to understand. I never understand the criteria of these things. Like, I actually thought it was a physical thing, which I could understand that, but Rachel enlightened me to say that it's not, and so now it is, like Kevin said, a really weird gray area, because it gets taken to such a point that without having some sort of professional's opinion so that Disney can say, all right, we got it. I mean, yeah, you got to take someone's word for it. And it's really tough to do that when everybody wants to enjoy a vacation at the same time.
Well, and also when you have Disney kind of nickel and diming you for everything, I mean, this
has changed how I'm going to go to Disney, because if I don't qualify for it anymore, which I might try once just to talk to them and see what this return to line thing is. And, I'm going to work in the system. I'm not going to, I'm going to follow their rules. But if I don't have any viability, any way to return to the line or do something like that, then I'm just going to do a few trips. I might not have an AP anymore, and I might buy Disney Plus when I go. You know what I'm saying? But I can't do that all the time.
Understood.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I'm curious about the physical thing. They say they have that already set, but is that like outward seeing physical things, or
it's more mobility? That's
more
really
mobility.
what
Yeah, mobility is a better word. Yeah, I said physical, but mobility is a much better word. Yeah, mobility impairment.
Because I was thinking, like, what if you had an internal kind of thing? It's like that's not like you can sense that or notice that.
That's really what the problem is right now, is that anyone who has any internal or medical issues are being cut out of this new system, as how it seems right now. So that's kind of the issue.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful that the return to line pass is going to be a really nice compromise where, like, yes, you have to stand in line as long as you don't need to go do something. Like, I've had clients with diabetes, and sometimes if your blood sugar drops really significantly, like, you have to go take care of that right away. It's really important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you don't want to be in a situation where you've just waited 90 minutes and now you're deciding, do I take care of my blood pressure and trash the last 90 minutes, or do I go try to just stick it out in the line queue? And so obviously that's very serious. And in the past, I have said, well, hey, I think, DAS might be something you would look at. I'm hopeful that this return to line pass will be a nice compromise where, like, a lot of times your blood sugar isn't going to drop and you are going to be fine. And so you can wait in the line. And so then, they would do that when that's a possibility. And then when it's not, hopefully this return to line pass is actually something really useful and that it works well. And that will be a nice compromise in a way to, like, give somebody an option when they really, really need it. But, you might not always need to get out of line.
That's fair. If you have diabetes, I'd be more worried about your sugar just going way up at Disney, because there's no joke out there. But.
Yeah.
Question, though, real quick about this, Rachel. You'd kind of referenced this before. You said that they won't accept a doctor's note. So basically, a cast member interviews you and makes the assessment whether or not you really have what you say you have?
Yeah, actually, it's probably a better question for Raz, because I've never gone through the process personally.
Okay, Raz?
Yeah, so how it stands right now is a cast member, whether it's on the one on the video call or in person right now, which they're getting rid of, a cast member interviews you, asks you what your issue is for standing in line. They don't specifically ask for any disability. I don't mind telling them if that helps them, but they ask what your issues are, and then they come up with a solution. And for right now, for me, it's been DAS. Okay. Maybe next now it's going to be that return to line. I don't know.
Okay. But just to clarify your question, Danny, it's not, I don't think they won't accept it, right? Because it's under HIPAA, it's purely up to the patient.
They won't accept it.
They won't accept it at all. Okay.
No,
so even if, like,
they don't want to see it. They don't want anything to do with it.
Wow.
That's crazy, because I know they can't ask for it. Like, in college, we can't ask for it at all unless they disclose it to us. And then it's like, well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I would be more than happy to have a doctor's note, a list of medications to show them and stuff like that if it would be more understanding for them. But they don't want that.
So if you hand it to them, they're like,
that's like their exact reaction. If you say the specific disability by name, they actually say, we don't want to hear that.
Okay. So what if you just say, look, I can't stand in line for long periods of time. I have issues and anxiety with standing in line. That would be decent enough for them to hear, and they would be like,
right now with DAS it would be, but it doesn't sound like it. Sounds like right now they're trying to switch to autism, Down syndrome, those types of developmental disorders, just only for DAS.
So now they're going to want the diagnosis.
They don't. It sounds like they don't care.
They can't ask for it. Yeah,
my head hurts.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And I'm really. They have to do something. I mean, I have people who are like, oh, DAS was so great. We, just did the thing on the app, and then we went and waited in line for this other ride next door. And it's like, no, that's not the point.
That's not the
You weren't supposed to be able to wait in line. Isn't that the? It is really big. And I think people who are well-meaning, who, are saying to themselves like, oh, I qualify. And then they get validated by Disney saying they qualify. But in reality, like, they can wait in line. It just can't be over a certain amount of time or whatever. Like, They have to have something, right? It's too open-ended right now.
And I think there's a lot of people who are good-natured like me who I don't mind waiting in line, but I know that I probably will not be able to. So I just need to have some sort of system. That's all.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah. And these lines are getting longer and longer too. Mm-hmm. As they're, those scene ones, as they say.
Hopefully not, if they can address this.
Makes me wonder, because I did hear something like when the cost of Genie Plus goes up and when the cost of the Lightning Lane goes up, suddenly the number of people requesting a desk goes up.
It does.
And that could be people abusing the system. That could also be anxiety or whatever kicking in because of how packed the crowds are.
Sure.
I hear that.
I don't want to make that judgment.
No.
Yeah.
I really don't. I would prefer, if I was Disney, I would have a third party do this. I don't want this.
Do you think they'll having it done virtually as opposed to the meeting the person like in person, like while you're there at the park, is a better way of doing it virtually?
1,000%. There needs to be somebody at the park that can. This whole idea that you had to.
Oh, you're saying the other way. You're saying that there should be someone at the park.
It's better. So you're saying it's better that you meet them in person as opposed to virtually.
No, I'm saying that you should have access to both.
Access to
So
both.
the only place you'll have access to both now is Disneyland. They have said that they're going to allow in person at Disneyland. They're going to take that I can never say that word right, but
Esplanade.
Thank you, Esplanade, the middle area of Disneyland and Disney California Adventure.
Okay.
And they have those ticket booths there,
Yeah.
if you remember, if you've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to take those and make some of those into like that for that system. So they're going to do that, but they're not. And if you think about it, there's not as many people at Disneyland. So they probably can deal with that in person. But at Disney World, that's not going to be an option anymore. You'll have to do the online video.
All the different things that you need to do to go on a Disney vacation, especially if you're traveling with a special needs child, and you need to know about this in addition to everything else. I don't like that. I like the idea that these people might be showing up, and if they don't know, why penalize them?
We're also saying that I have had a friend with a special needs child with a developmental disability, and that child is nonverbal, but they have issues that they couldn't stand in line for a long time. So in that time they did it in person and just have the child stand there and look at the person and explain to the child's nonverbal and why they couldn't stand in line, and they accepted that. But I'm just saying there's a lot of leeway here. So
they can't just keep overhauling something like this and then just be like, all right, let's just see if that works in this place. They really would have to build on that, I think, for it to have more credibility.
I don't know. I don't understand what the incentive is for people to tell the truth if you don't need a doctor's note.
That's a great point. Yeah, they definitely should fix that.
I mean, if you show up at the park and you've got a doctor's...
I was good in school. It should be good in the park.
I would agree, but... Guess not.
Wow.
Out of curiosity, for comparison, the Universal system, is it any easier than this, or is it?
It's actually unless Rachel knows some more about it. From what I know, it's a pretty lengthy system. You do have to do some kind of video call with them with this third party system. I don't know how long that takes, but I do know you have to have all your paperwork in order.
Yeah, they have like a third party that validates through video call. You have to submit documentation. And then my understanding is you actually get like a certified like ID that you call, and it's not just accepted at Universal, it's accepted at a range of places.
I believe SeaWorld takes it also.
Yeah, so it qualifies you for a range of places, and it's good for a year.
Oh, wow.
And then you just go to Universal and you show that you have this ID. And so that just works there. I don't know why Disney's not. I don't know if it would be expensive to do that. I can imagine that this company would have to scale up like significantly to try to handle the traffic that Disney would provide for something like that. Mm-hmm. And so maybe it's just not feasible for this third party company to accommodate Disney and the amount of people that would be requesting this. I don't know why they're not going that route.
Even though it's lengthy, it sounds smoother.
Yeah.
I agree.
There are people that complain about it that really don't like it. Yeah.
Okay.
They feel like it's too invasive and it takes too long and it's too many hoops to jump through.
How invasive was it when you show up on a cruise ship and you have to go through a medical tent and have a third party swab your nose, give you a diagnosis? I mean, that, and then you don't even know if you can step on the boat. So that, if they did it for COVID, they could do it for this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that's the way to leave it.
I don't know. I think I might try it one time to go online with them to ask them what's going to happen.
I want to
But-
hear your hot take on the return to Line Pass. Like, I
Same
want to know
thing.
how that's going to work.
Yeah, definitely come back for sure.
I'm probably going to go to Disney before May 20th, before my pass expires, my DAS. So I might ask a cast member if they know anything else about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like how this would work. So, well, I guess that'll be my best option is the return to Line. I just want to see how it works.
Yeah, I'm interested. I hope they've really been thoughtful about it. And I hope it's a good solution because I do think there are just like so many people that really don't need DAS the way it works right now. Like 99% of the time they be fine, but they just need a backup plan. And I'm hoping that return to Line Pass can be a viable backup plan for folks. And, because it does change the experience for everybody else. And I know the cast members have been really, really lenient with those party size numbers. Like they say up to 6, but if you get on and you say you're traveling with another family, I know people who've gotten approved up to 10, so a lot of people. So I do hope that this improves the guest experience truly for everybody.
I got an idea. What if we just build more attractions and there's less waiting in line?
What kind of stuff you talking about?
Perfect.
What a
Nailed it. Let's do that.
Did we talk about that last week?
Yeah, we did.
It sounds.
They got to make some money on those Genie Plus things, though, before they can pay for new attractions, right?
Ugh, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Well, I never thought I'd want Fast Pass to come back, but I do.
I know.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, I think that was a good discussion. Hopefully that answers some questions for people that might be worried about these changes. I know there are still going to be questions out there. I'm really looking forward to hearing about how this works in reality. And so, Raz, if you do have a chance to experience the new system, we're definitely interested in hearing about how that goes. And just thank you so much for coming on and sharing your ideas and your experiences with the system the way it has been.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you.
for coming back. Happy graduation. We'll see you.
Show them what's up, Doc.
Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed that episode of the Magic Are We podcast, and we hope you learned something. I know I did. Look, go to our website, magicourway.com. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, you can get in touch with us in the following ways to share your opinions on anything we've talked about today. First of all, you can shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com or call or send us a text message. Yes, I did say text us at 1-815-MOWEEKEN. That is 1-815
Moweekend.
669-4226. And of course, we have a couple of people do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli, does things with comics. Eli, what's up, sir?
That's right. When you're going on the internet, you put that scope on. I really do miss that. I'm really gonna miss
It ain't
that.
gone yet. It's not gone.
I know, but I gotta catch it before it does.
I'm going to send you a picture.
And Disneyland, hey.
Couple of weeks.
Oh, that's right.
Disneyland's still going to have theirs. And they just did an upgrade. And like cleaning. They did a whole repainting, so their stuff looks good.
We'll see, but they can change things at any time.
Is Disneyland's free?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. At least from the last time we went, I remember.
Oh, okay, well,
I'm trying to remember.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I remember unlimited shooting because I
Eli
think they
remember.
knocked it out for both. And actually, the sites are better at Disneyland
It is,
than Disney
yeah.
World.
Everything is better in Disneyland.
Well, this is true, but this is accurate.
Everything's true, yes.
So, yes, you want an accurate thing, you go on the internet, you check out ivorycomics.com, www.ivorycomics.com. You're going to see everything I got right there, Project Geisha, Savages, and About to Be Damned. All this work is fully colored. You get more for your buck than if you went to the big two. And they make movies, but, they still throw so much stuff in there. Like, you're not worried about tennis shoes and video games, all this other stuff. You just want to read the book. That's what you get here. Although the only ad is for the podcast because that's what Walt would have wanted and that's what Stan would have wanted. So that's why we're doing that.
I don't know, Eli. I'm ready for the Ivory Comics Cinematic Universe.
I just need a backer.
The ICU.
Yeah, I see you. You'll never be sick of this. Yeah,
That's right.
So as well as all that, actually, and then let's support it. Let's make that happen. Come on, I'm not getting any younger. We got plenty of ideas.
But you're getting larger.
That's just the camera lens. That's all that is.
Thank you, Zucker Brothers.
Yes. You can what is it? Blog posts, interviews, a link to this crazy zany podcast. You never miss a beat. You never miss an episode. You never miss what's going on. You never miss what's being shot at or what's being done. This is all just a beautiful thing. I mean, it's an awesome thing. So that's the narrative. And you know that story. It's all about the glory. So go ahead and get a piece of that. ivorycomics.com. Also on social media, I am right there. Eli H. Ivory. As long as you're a real person, lovely to meet you. As long as a bot. Come on now, bot. Stop. Just stop. I don't need to greet you. I understand. You keep trying. But please don't do this to me no more. Had the bot try to offer me a job the other day. So it was a fully remote job, pay $70,000, do this interview. You know what happened? The bot asked me, the first question was not about my resume. What was my bank institutional number? I was like, come on. That's not a joke. That really happened. It was on Teams. Hate these bots. Anyway.
It was on Teams?
Yeah, they wanted to do an interview on Teams with my institutional bank number. I said, the bank of none of your business. That's what I told them.
None ya.
It's like every week you get tricked by a bot. Is that what happens?
That's the problem when you're in the IT field. The bots come after you. The world tests me, Danny. I just never tell them what the test is,
it's like
let alone
South
the result.
Park with the Loch Ness Monster. Well, don't you know it's a Loch Ness Monster? I need about $250.
Yeah. So, yes, of course, on Facebook also is the Project Geisha fan page. So, facebook.com/Project Geisha. Also on Instagram, right out there, posting up the hearts and the likes and the sharing the story and getting all that glory. EIV504 is where you can find me there. And, of course, on X, I can be found at Hancock 10166. So, yes, if you appreciate the madness, you're just bringing me the gladness. Pew, pew. Thank you very much.
And if you want to book a vacation down to Walt Disney World to experience a day one opening attraction of the Frontierland Shootin Arcade, Rachel can definitely book that with you. For you.
I can. And it would have to be a last minute trip. And I am excellent at last minute trips. So I'd be happy to help you.
Take it from me. She is very good at last minute trips.
Us.
Because we're very good at
like,
booking last minute trips.
Like, how about tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, maybe next week.
Oh.
Whoa, what?
We put her through the Kobayashi Maru, guys.
Surprise!
She knows her stuff.
Yes, she's very good.
Yes. So I would be honored to help your group book your trip to Disney World, Disneyland, any of the Disney properties, Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, major hotel brands around the world, Universal. Can't forget Universal. And it costs nothing extra to book your trip through me. And a little bit of the price that you would have paid for that trip anyway comes back to support this podcast and this fan community. I was listening to Kevin say the easiest thing you can do to support this podcast is go and rate and review us. And that is true. But I really think the second easiest thing you can do if you're already going to take a trip is to send me an email, and I would be happy to help you out. And it would literally be the exact same cost to you. I can stay out of it if you want, but if you want my help, I'm here, and it helps to support this podcast. So please reach out. My email is Rachel, RACHEL @magicourway.com. And the other place you can find me is through the phone number. You can text me or call. My number is 978-432-WISH, WISH. And you can also find me on social media. Just let me know that you're a listener of the podcast. I am at the letter R, Family Magic on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Those are all great places to reach me too. So again, please reach out, Rachel@magicourway.com. Costs you nothing extra, and you support this great podcast that you already love. And we're happy to have you.
And you just so happen to get the best travel agent in the business.
You know, that's what I hear.
Mostly from me.
But it's true.
No, she is from a lot of people. She is really good at what she does.
Yeah.
You will not be sorry. I don't care how many times you've been. You will not be sorry to have Rachel's knowledge at your disposal.
Because Rachel will know what's going on even before, during, and while you're there on the vacation. And that's very essential to have because you don't know what you're going to face. But if you have a travel agent, well, now you got a guy that's ahead of things. It's like having an infinity gauntlet in your hand.
It's true. We had a big snowstorm up here weeks ago, which is wild in April. But I had a couple clients that were traveling, and they had to each of them ended up picking up an extra night on different parts of their trip to accommodate for the snow, and they didn't have to wait in line or talk to guest services or wait on holds. They were just in the parks. They sent me a text, "Hey Rachel, this is what we want," and I'm happy to do it.
And so look, we definitely want to thank Dr. Raz for coming back on. She's already offline, but I want to thank her again. Make sure you get that in there.
Absolutely.
It's great to hear from you. It has been a little bit.
Dr. Raz. Hey.
Dr. Raz. Yeah.
Hey. So if y'all want to access the info we just mentioned, go to magicourway.com/about us. If you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way. There you'll find 6 awesome tiers to support this show. And any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. The easiest way to support us, and it only costs a minute or so of your time, is to leave a rating and review in Apple Podcasts and or wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. And just like you heard, the second easiest way to support us is to book a vacation through Rachel.
That's really the first easy. Like that does nothing for you, but make your life better.
This is true. This is true. And so, look, we want to thank you all for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic RA podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Kwaherini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
And you are. Bye!